Hi, Dr. Paul Haider, Master Herbalist and Spiritual Teacher here. Well, what do you think these are? Little white capsules. I won't bore you with them as far as tasting them goes. I already opened them up and they don't taste like anything. So it's, it's an amazing enzyme called Lumbrokinase. And it's great for heart health and preventing strokes and on and on. I'll get in more into all of that. This enzyme comes from a particular earthworm called a Lumbricus uh, rubellus. And it's mostly from Asia, China, Korea, Japan, and some of the other Indonesian countries there. This worm uh, can be cultivated. Actually, they pull them out of the soil also, and it contains a lot of different healing agents in it. It has been used in Chinese medicine for thousands upon thousands of years. I find that's really exciting, and if they've used it successfully without problems for that long, it's got to be good stuff. There's no doubt about it. And it's known as Dilong, or the Earth Dragon in China, and like I said, it's been used in Japan, Korea, and China for a long, long time. It's classified as a fibrolytic enzyme and promotes the breakdown of fibrogen, which is, blood clots. And boy, that's an exciting thing. You know what I mean? They've done a lot of studies about, strokes and breaking down blood clots. And it's also a great anti-inflammatory. It helps with building up the blood. It's an oxidative enzyme. It's a helps with nerve disease, and it's an antimicrobial, antiviral, and helps with cancer and all kinds of different things. So very, very interesting, and boosts up the flow of blood through the tissues by getting rid of coagulation there, so you can move blood in the everywhere in the body. It helps with muscle cramps and pain a little bit also, so that's really interesting. Helps to deliver other different agents into the body, maybe antibacterial agents or natural ones also, to get in there and do its job into deep tissues where sometimes these agents can't get to because there's things blocking it, and I'll get into that in a minute. Helps with heart disease in general, and heart and angina, and people were building up clots in their. In fact, I just had a lady call me the other day, or actually email me, and one of her friends had a clot in one of the coronaries. In fact, a couple of coronaries, and they were not thinking he was going to survive. And this is one thing that would help in a great way, but they didn't have a whole lot of capability to get this type of thing, but also they were going to pray around his bed. I hope he's doing well. Also, a study in the Journal of Alternative Complementary Medicine in 2009 showed that they took 10 people and people with angina, and they gave them lumbrokinase and also standard care, and they had an improvement out of 6 out of 10 of the patients. So that's pretty exciting stuff also, in a short amount of time also. Another study in Chinese Journal of ACTA found that lumbrokinase can protect the heart and protect against myocardial infarctions and blockages of the coronary arteries, and decrease the blood, if that would normally decrease blood flow to the heart. So that's a big deal. Great, help to prevent heart disease. Also great for strokes and helps to prevent strokes. A study in 2013 and a Chinese medical journal also showed 310 people hospitalized for strokes were treated with a standard treatment and also with the lumbrokinase, and the ones that were treated with the lumbrokinase had less problems with strokes over the long term. So, wow, pretty amazing stuff. And there's another study in 2008 in European Journal of Pharmacology found that really did a great job of combating the formation of strokes when people had, a long-term process of having strokes on a regular basis, and they gave them lumbrokinase. They prevented them from having other strokes in general. Wow, pretty amazing stuff. Another study at the Clinical Hematology and Microcirculation in 2007 found that it was beneficial for treating cerebral infarctions. He had a study with 31 people, and so 20 were assigned to control, and the other ones had lumbrokinase, and they found it decreased the process of clotting in general and causing strokes. So very good. It helps to prevent nerve pain caused by diabetes. And they're not really sure exactly how this works, but there is a blockage of certain enzymes that are happening while diabetes is, causing problems with nerves and causing nerve pain. And in a study at the Diabetes Research and Clinical Practice in 2013, they showed that these enzymes did a good job of preventing nerve pain caused by diabetes. So very good. This is great. This enzyme is great for helping those who suffer from Lyme disease. And there's a huge amount of people who have Lyme disease now and suffering. And one of the great things that lumbrokinase does is to help to get rid of the biofilms that are there, and the spirochete, which is a bacteria that actually screws itself down into tissues, is the Lyme disease. And sometimes the antibiotics, even the natural antibiotics, can't get down into those tissues or past the biofilm that they create also on the outside to actually do its job. And so when they're used in combination with a natural herb or with antibiotics, it allows it to penetrate down inside and actually do a good job of getting rid of that spirochete. So, and help with the improvement of all the symptoms also. And so that's a great thing. A lot of people are suffering with this, and I think that, this little capsule here can make a big difference in people's lives. And the dose on the average is from 10 to 40 milligrams, and one pill of lumbrokinase 2 times a day. And for those who have been, had a lot of Lyme disease problems and kind of stalled and are not moving anywhere, this can really make a difference. Also with Lyme disease, 10 lumbrokinase capsules a day for some people, divided into doses 3 times a day, and used at a range of about from 250 to 500. Different people are using it in different ways, so you have to decide what works for you. Anywhere from about 10 milligrams up to 500 milligrams, so that's what people are using. It also helps to get rid of that bacteria in general, and really works great. As far as brands go, you will have to look at the brands and try different ones and see how it's working for you. It's different brands on this particular thing, depending on how they use the worm. Some have seemed to have a little higher percentage of the enzyme and some a little lower, but they all have the enzyme in general, so that's really good. Also, with cancer, it really helps with slowing the development of tumors, so that's a really great thing too. And people with deep vein thrombosis, if you get those, deep leg thrombosis, and this is life-threatening. And if you have a history of this and you've almost lost your life because of it, this is something that you might look at, lumbrokinase, which would prevent this in the future from actually dissolves the clots in a great way. And it's something that should be used maybe if you have that, maybe 1 to 3 times a year, maybe a little more often. It does have a blood thinning effect, so this is not something you want to use all the time because it does thin the blood and you have a prolonged bleeding time in general. So it's not a good thing to have all the time. And I think in American culture, everybody seems to think that a little is good, a lot is better. No, that's not really true. Sometimes just a little tiny bit is the best thing whatsoever. And I think that's really true with this particular enzyme also. And it's not for those who have bleeding problems, of course, and pregnant women and mothers who are nursing and children shouldn't take this. And the large doses can cause nausea, bloating, diarrhea, sometimes skin reaction, and of course you can have allergic reaction to just about anything in general. So keep that in mind. And of course, if you're on, coumarin or something like that, you shouldn't be taking this. And if you're going to have surgery, you don't want to be bleeding too much. You don't want to be taking this before surgery. And also check with your doctor if you're taking blood thinners and that type of thing. So it's something to keep in mind. Also, it's something to keep around. If somebody's having a stroke, this is something that you can start even before the paramedics can get there, And I think that's a really great thing. And sometimes it takes them 10, 15, 20 minutes to get there. And by that time, you might be able to help that person by giving them some, good old capsules of Lumbrokinase, which will make a big difference. And I think it's important to keep around in your herbal medicine chest because of that. And make sure that, if your loved one is having something like this, like a stroke going on. In fact, we had a person die across the street, just about 2 months ago. I was the second person to come in and see them. Not a good thing. She just stood up and had a vascular accident in her head, and she fell down. She was dead. And you don't want that to happen to your people and your loved ones in your life. So I recommend you buy some of this Lumbrokinase. It is not cheap. There's no doubt about it. But like all other things, a lot of people also use this in combination with nattokinase and serrapeptase also. So this is another thing to think about. Also, I would like to recommend that you keep a good herbal medicine chest for yourself. A lot of times, today is Mother's Day. Here, everything is closed on Mother's Day. And if somebody gets sick, it's good to have something on hand to be able to help that person, that loved one, all the time. Also, have a garden. I know just about every weed in our garden because all of them are helpful. I take pictures of every weed and identify it, and eventually, it takes me a while. I'm not a botanist, there's no doubt about it. But eventually you find out, why Mother Nature and God are providing me with everything I need, absolutely. And I really have a big respect for weeds now. They're not just something is noxious and in a way. It really, a lot of them are really helpful, like spreading hogweed, tawa. I've got a ton of that in the yard, all kinds of different things. It's like, wow, these are all helpful weeds. Luckily about weeds, you can mow them down and they just keep coming back. So take a look in your yard. You may have dandelion growing, which is good for you. You may have, all kinds of different weeds, which are really good for you. Maybe spreading hogweed. Maybe you have tawa. Maybe you have all kinds of different things that are growing. And if you have a little property, probably on your property close to the creek or anything like that, there's probably going to be a ton of different types of plants, which a lot of people call weeds, which are really good for you. And you can dry them and powder them and put them into capsules and that type of thing, or you can just make tea with them, which is probably the best thing too. And remember that this was given to you in a wonderful way. And remember that today is Mother's Day, and I hope you will take your mother out to eat somewhere and honor them in some way. Maybe have a special, dessert for them or something. And in fact, we're taking my wife's mother, who is 94, out today. And 94, that's pretty great, I tell you. And she has a lot of life force. In fact, we did a special test with her with a naturopath that I know. He's retired basically, but he did a special test with my wife's mother, and boy, she has a lot of life force in her. I think it really comes about because she is all the time laughing, and I think that's really, really important. If you laugh a lot, you're going to have a lot of life force. And there's even processes in Qigong medicine and martial arts and in Ayurvedic medicine when you talk about laughing. And I think even in some of the spiritual texts, it says if you can make another man laugh, you're assured a place in heavens. I think that's really important. So allow yourself to laugh on a regular basis. Allow yourself to smile. You know, one thing I like to do is go down through the mall as I do my walking. I do 2 miles in the morning with the dogs and another 6 miles in the afternoon with just by myself. It's too hot to walk here in the afternoon, so I walk at the mall. And each round around the mall is 1 mile, and I'm smiling a lot, so a lot of people smile back, but a lot of people don't. And that really shows me what's going on inside them. A lot of people have worries and things, and we just have to send them love and say a couple prayers for them. But a lot of people actually have started actually smiling because I'm smiling. So that's a really great thing. I think it's really great. You can teach people to smile. You can teach people to do this and start to smile. And you actually start to feel better inside when you smile. Actually, studies show that if you actually just change your facial look to a smile, you actually create different hormones in your brain, which starts you to produce more serotonin and more dopamine, and you feel better. That's a pretty amazing thing. So if you want to feel better, if you want to change your life, start smiling. I don't think that we were meant to have a frown, but a lot of people are doing that these days. So be the opposite. Stand out in the crowd and allow yourself to smile every single day. If you want to get a hold of me, my phone number is 831-869-9119. 831-869-9119. My email is drpaulhaider@gmail. At drpaulhaider@gmail.com. All this is down below. Hit show more, and it's all down there. My website is paulhaider.com. That's www.paulhaider.com. And you can Skype me also at drpaulhaider. Send me an invite, and I'll talk with you there. My consults are no charge, but I do appreciate a donation, please, and that makes a big difference because I want to keep my research going and to help you in great ways. And we're going to make a difference in this world and change this world one way or another. And so feel free to contact me anytime. But remember, I go to bed early, so contact me early in the day. I'm on Eastern Standard Time, and I go to bed by 8 p.m. So contact me early. And remember to watch the little ads. They bring a couple cents in our direction. Not much, really, but it really does help. Everything helps. So, and if you would like to make a donation, go to paulhaider.com, www.paulhaider.com. And up on the top, you can click and make a donation. I really appreciate that very much. And I'd love to hear your comments and get back to me. And if I can answer questions for you, have a wonderful day. And remember to have a wonderful Mother's Day. But most of all, remember one thing. I love you.